attempt. The first one got disconnected. We've had a few connection problems. Maybe it's my location. Maybe it has nothing to do with what we're saying. But regardless, today is the 24th, 2025. October 24th, a few days away from Halloween. People take it very seriously here. And I'm wrapping up this pencil sketch of this gnarly cottonwood tree. Our last stream got cut off because of buffering. But we're going to go ahead and let this go for a minute and see if this is just a location. If it's a location thing, I'll migrate. Okay, so the last one actually uploaded. Interesting. All right, what's up, PsyOps Sidecar? So we were discussing the whiteboard from earlier. I want to take this 90-minute breakdown and really condense it to 45 minutes. I mean, we can go into the weeds. Yeah, and then again, Michael Lito, thanks again for purchasing the book, the handbook for the recently deprogrammed. There shouldn't be any misconceptions about what we're saying. And the point of the book is to put our work, 7 years of deep thought, into a single manual out there in public where it's open to be criticized. It's open to be refuted. Prove us wrong, change our minds. Good luck. Good luck with that burden of proof and those hoax indicators. I wouldn't want to be advocating for mainstream media on the basis that it's intrinsically trustworthy and there to inform you, as though it has no agenda to conform you. And there's still people running cover for some strange reason, trying to dissuade us from discussing the fact, the verifiable fact, that entertainment is used by government for delivering propaganda messaging in reference to future fake news events, in addition to what other kinds of covert influence these are repurposed for. So entertainment is not just entertainment. This shouldn't be news to anybody. But for some reason, there's a lot of people who figured out that media runs psyops, but they're not willing to accept that the entertainment industry is involved in it too. Like, they can be betrayed by the news and walk away with their minds intact. But when you tell them that their favorite movie directors are doing covert psyop product placement for the government so they can script our reality, fake historic event by fake historic event, that's a little much for them. It's like too much paradigm shift for me. I'm going to stay here in Trutherville where I'm comfortably numbed by red pills. Well, not really numbed, but agitated. It's a comfortable agitation. At least they know what to be paranoid of. And we're saying, no, your paranoias are invalid. It's all part of a Psywar meant to get you to capitulate and surrender without knowing you've surrendered. You know, there's a reason why they give free thinkers the red pills. So I was here yesterday and I was talking about why Candace Owens should be treated as nothing more than an actress. And one of the main reasons is every single one of these conspiracy rabbit trails are already paved. They're not making any new ground here. They're not uncovering new facts. It's all formula. And yesterday I was talking about the scripted meltdown of Candace Owens, which you got to see it. You got to see her saying, I don't know if Peter Thiel and Elon Musk are real people. They might be cyborgs. Might have to stab them and see if they bleed. After one of her fans threatens to kill a number of people they believed were behind the Charlie Kirk killing. So now she's this David Icke, Alex Jones-esque conspiracy kook accused of apophenia, being a functional schizophrenic, in addition to being a racist, anti-Semite, everything else. But if you look at this objectively, and her relationship to the biggest psyop of the decade, probably, this Charlie Kirk thing's big. The fact that she's a part of that tells you she knows. There's a reason why she'll talk about second shooter number 33, 34, 35. How many second shooters? The only thing they haven't come to yet are space lasers got Charlie Kirk, but they will never touch he's not dead. And there are some who try to minimize the significance of him not being dead. There's an account that I follow on Twitter who I think is a shill, controlled op, pushes the synchromystic thing where he was saying Snake Eyes uses quantum physics. So the Hollywood movies plus quantum physics equal we're manifesting these events. Like, okay, that kind of thinking got a pass like 10 years ago. It was questionable 5 years ago, but it's not acceptable today. And the person who has a big channel, and they won't talk about anything concurrent. They only reach back to the deniable stuff. And he still pushes the wrong date, the September 10th on that one. But my point is, he said, it doesn't matter if Charlie Kirk is dead or alive. And I addressed this morning on the whiteboard. It actually does matter. If he's dead, then who killed him? And both scenarios presuppose the validity of the world stage as it's presented to us today, meaning radical leftist, trans, satanic Nazi affiliated shooter, or whatever they put up with. It's this new bowl cut, but it's like a Reddit left-wing Antifa thing. Or it was Netanyahu, it was Israel. So you're still, if you accept it as real, your explanations are still limited to these narratives that are already pretty much roundly exposed as psyop narratives. But if he's not dead, well, then we got a list of names of people who are close enough, proximal enough to know about this, including Erica Trump and Donald Trump. I'm sorry, Erica Kirk, Donald Trump. Like, these have tremendous implications. The bloody guardrail keeps people from seeing the full extent of the fakery. And if you look at it all the way, if you go past the presupposition he's dead, the entire thing unravels. Butler unravels. The one thing maintaining the integrity of the mainstream and alternative take is the belief in literal death in psyops. People don't die in psyops. And this bears repeating, because this is axiomatic. And if you think this is not true, let us know which psyop involved real deaths. List them. Name one and then tell me what your evidence is. If your evidence is I saw it on TV, it doesn't count. We're not saying this event was fake because we saw it on TV and it looks fake. No, I'm operating under the presumption that nothing's going to look fake in just a couple of years. We're entering hyper reality, the fusion of real and fake, which they already have done, but they're going to perfect it, visually speaking. If the visual lies make it such that you can't tell real from fake, you've been rendered illiterate, visually illiterate. That's where we're at. The basis for calling these events fake has to therefore come from peripheral information, context. And part of the context is the entertainment content that reinforces the psyop, the predictive and concurrent content, the foreshadowing, the real-time alignments between top released films and the psyop of the day. A reoccurring pattern that we've noticed, we've documented. It's not just our pattern recognizing monkey brains run amok, but it's in fact, we're exposing systemic fakery. And a lot of people just don't go far enough in their questioning. Like, well, what's the point of the fakery? They ask the question, but they don't answer it. Well, the answer to the fakery is that in addition to our regular news in our real lives, we have lies infused into our collective worldview. What we accept is real collectively. Everybody agrees the climate's getting bad because of man, even if you disagree on the cause. The purpose is these pre-scheduled events, simulated events, take place in the bread and circuses in front of all of us. Actors, special effects, these are simulated events that become part of our historic record. Every day's news goes into the history book. I was asking this morning, when does news become history? When did history end and become, quote, news? Because if you're willing to say that history is fake and manipulated retroactively, and you think that the real-time history-making mechanism of media is not distorting things, there's a continuity gap here. Part of the function of the news is creating history. That's one of its main functions. News bending, that is, inserting fake events into the news to steer the narrative in a predetermined way, news bending is just the start of it. Because over the years, news bending becomes history bending. We live in a consensus version of events, and it diverges from the real thing in certain ways, namely through the addition of things that don't actually exist, threats, lots of threats, lots of scenarios that aren't even plausible, but are inserted into our worldview and they're believed into existence. They're like state-sanctioned superstitions. A better term is hyperstitions. But we've been observing this for quite some time. And so the long-term purpose of it is there's a history monopoly. There is a worldview monopoly, and we should think of it as such. And this monopoly allows whatever's behind it, and I'm not saying it's a group of people or a nation, it's government itself, which apparently spans the entire world. It's a singular entity. It's monolithic. And I'm just describing what the evidence suggests, points to, reveals. Hearing coyotes, I don't know if you can hear those. So what we're looking at here is that our worldview has been tampered with. This is not new either. Religions have done it forever. False backstory, worldview, totally within their book, usually a revealed text. Till says, Tim, you ever think they already have perfect technology so they insert mistakes to laugh and gaslight? Technology so advanced we think it's magic. No, I think they're doing the best that they can. I don't think any of the errors or glitches we see are necessarily there for our benefit or for us to see it. Although you will find what I call truther bait, where they will plant bad information or limited information to get you to run to a wrong conclusion. Like a lot of people were saying, when Kirk was shot, the guy jumps over the table and a chair goes through the table. So I entertain the idea. It's grainy footage. It's either bad footage or that's an augmented reality component put there for the purpose of obscuring what they were doing. Well, just yesterday, new footage has emerged, higher quality, and you can see the table and the chair are interacting like normal. So you can't be quick. You can't rush to judge it as fake. You can't rush to judge it as real. To say it's real automatically is to be credulous and dupable. To say it's fake automatically is just to be incredulous, which is not skeptical. The credulous people will dismiss a straw man argument. The skeptic will melt the steel man. And we're skeptics here. Show me the steel man. I will build it for you if you have not. I'm parked by a place where the train picks people up and takes them to Santa Fe. I've been scoping out locations to sell my art. This one here, again, I got to put some more work in it back when I have my smudging tool, but I'm doing a series on cottonwood trees. Apologize for the darkness. Well, actually, I'm not apologizing for it. It's just I have no control over it. The sun set while I was working. But you can kind of see the tree. Gnarled. Buzzing Fret says, Trump will lead us to get to the bottom of it. Oh yeah, trust the plan. 5D chess. The QAnon people, their cope was so bad, they would say, well, Trump has to play along, or they'll use Article 25 and they'll say he's crazy and they'll kick him out. Or the truth is so big that they can't tell us. So if you know, you know. But anyway, to get to my main point from this morning, what we're describing here with history bending is that the creation of history, one, history is a construct. Two, yeah, you can easily conceptualize how you could retroactively change it, because it's all a matter of opinion. We see this all the time. Like the 1619 Project, attempting to redefine history in a different context, different point of view. We see this all the time. MAGA is an attempt to whitewash some aspects of America's past and idealize it. So the past is something that everybody always fights over. But the more crucial point here is that it's not just retroactive, but it's proactive. Our history is being created proactively by premeditated psychological operations, each one of which steers the news cycle, presents a historic event as real, and becomes real. Happy birthday, Art of Thinking Out Loud, Common Sense Analytics. Said it's my birthday today, so I'm having a few drinks. Okay, another Scorpio. We're ruled by Pluto. That's why we're inclined to plumb the depths. Pluto's the only, quote, planet that goes below the ecliptic, because yes, our solar system is flat, but Pluto deviates. It's like 17 degrees below. Rules the underworld. God of wealth. Mining, mineral wealth. Among other things. Associated with Hades. Pretty big in the big mystery schools. Like the kidnapping of Persephone. Makes plenty of appearances in the mainstream. Let's see, today's the 24th. We're 4 days away from the first Q drop and the birthday of Bill Gates. Linda says, has anyone ever seen Pluto other than the cartoon? I've seen NASA images of Pluto. And on the NASA images of Pluto, you can see a faint silhouette of the dog Pluto from Disney, who emerged the same year. Yes, the dog Pluto came out the same year as the planet Pluto, and Pluto's head is on Pluto because we live in the Disney universe. You got to check out Mimas, the moon of Saturn that looks just like the Death Star. Or Mickey Mouse on Mercury, which is weird. Game of Thrones, sigil of the House of Iron, the House of Stark, the Iron Throne. That symbol is on Mars. And of course, Mars is associated with iron, which all makes sense. You've got the Star Trek logo on Mars. I mean, there's a lot of tie-ins. My point being, we live in a Disney universe, planet Netflix. We live in an intersection of multiple fictional universes. The Batman Joker universe really ties into a lot of the class warfare psyops on the world stage. Terrorism psyops. The Marvel Comics universe also intersects with this. And fictional universes are useful to understand this as a concept. What is a fictional universe? Well, you're not going to have Star Wars characters interfacing with Marvel. You know, these are self-contained universes that have lots of contributors, lots of stories that coexist. None of them are incongruent. None of them cancel out the others. Well, you you can look at the mainstream worldview, what I call the world stage, as a fictional universe. Because it mostly seems like real and it mostly overlaps, but it has things added to it. So, for example, Marvel Comics is just like our world, except you've got superheroes. The mainstream media worldview is just like the real world, except you've got a bunch of fake stuff plastered all over it. Fake events, fake people, hyperstitions, threats of things that don't actually exist. Swiss says, I believe Bill Gates is a fake made-up character. His character invented Microsoft, which is a way for more people to spend, make dollars. Hence the name Dollar Bill Gates. Wouldn't shock me. Bill Gates, Microsoft, computer viruses, there's something there. And they've made this connection. If you look at Richard Brody's Virus of the Mind, where the concept of the mind virus was really popularized, he had previously been known for creating the first edition of Microsoft Word. So if you connect these things, Microsoft, computer viruses, Word, mind viruses, you can kind of see that there's a template here. Like, I think that the purpose of 2020 was to condition the masses for the advent of the mind virus and the need to quarantine the internet. Because if the real thing is fake, it's a construct, they still get you to react as though it's real. Well, we shouldn't assume that the mind viruses are any more realer. A mind virus is kind of an apt description for some things, but it presupposes that you don't really have free will. Like when it comes to catching ideas, you can just fall asleep with the AM radio on, Alex Jones pops on in the middle of the night, and now suddenly you're a flat earther. Like, it doesn't work like that. But they want us to think so. They want you to think that you can passively catch bad ideas that make you a racist ideologue or a terrorist, so they can justify digital ID, which is the mask you need to go online. The mind vax. But as far as Bill Gates, yeah, maybe there's a real Bill Gates. He's done these things, but is he also an actor on the world stage? Well, most definitely. And he was characterized as a villain, just like Musk is characterized as a villain, but also simultaneously as a savior. So ask yourself, how can you be a villain and a savior at the same time? You can't. It's a contradiction. But our Psywar is bifurcated. The billionaire heroes to the left are the billionaire villains to the right, and vice versa. Elon Musk, he's our savior, saved free speech, he's taken us to Mars. Oh, but he's a villain because he spread hate speech and he's destroying the earth. That's from the left. Bill Gates is a savior to the left. He saved us in 2020. To the right, he's a genocidal megalomaniac. You can tell where somebody is on the world stage by their reaction to the puppet show. Observe them observing the bread and circuses and look how they respond. And that'll tell you everything you need to know. And you only need one opinion to get a read on somebody. That's how the program really is. It is that compartmentalized. What's up, Core Fiction? Flozik, good one today. Linda Curtis. Good one day says people are put out in front of stuff, public facing. Yeah, what they have done is fascinating because with Facebook, which by the way, they sold your DMs to Netflix. With Facebook and social media in general, they commodified your privacy. Like your privacy now has value. And people have traded in their privacy and now they self-surveil. And social media is basically mind-reading software. And what has happened is we have entered into a sort of volitional 1984, like a volitional relationship where Big Brother doesn't have to use totalitarian methods to get us to be surveilled 24/7. No, we're begging to be surveilled. We're competing for clicks. I might have to go, since I'm not riding the train. All right, everyone. This has been fun. I'm going to leave before the police ask me to leave. I don't think I'm trespassing, but I didn't get on the last train, so I probably look sus. And I'm pretty much through with the drawing here. If you can see it, it's kind of dark. We may be live later tonight. Yeah, we'll be back.